Welcome back, guys, to Wayne Manor North. I am your humble host, Dan, and today I am extremely excited to share this review of the Samurai Batman from XM Studios. Let's get to it. Roll. All right, guys, let's dive right in. I'm going to give you a head-to-toe or head-to-building review of this piece. I know there have been several reviews out there over the past however many months. This one's new to my collection. It is also the first XM piece in my collection, and I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am and really surprised at how much I love this piece. I'm going to go ahead and call this piece a masterpiece, and that is in context. It's in the context of our hobby of statue collecting, but to me, this is a masterpiece. I know that all of us get excited for that new piece that comes into our collection, but this is something special. I had always heard about XM's quality, XM's attention to detail, the detail of the paint app, the concepts, the designs, and always admired them from afar. Truth be told, I've been a very big P1 collector and fanboy, if you will, over the past, couple of years. Reluctant to jump into the XM game for a number of reasons. They are expensive. They do run on the pricey side, but I have to tell you, wow, do you get what you pay for. I am all in on this Samurai line, and let me tell you more about it. So first of all, the first thing I'm going to say is, this is like getting 4 statues in one. You have so many switch outs. You can see them. I've got them laid out on the table here. You've got 5 different head sculpts. You've got a few different swords. You've got a grappling gun, as you can see. It's like having a few different statues. And unlike other statues, it's not just a change of facial expression or maybe a masked and an unmasked. It's actually a whole bunch of different pieces that turn this thing into something different every time you put these switch outs on. So I'm going to show you some of that today. But first, let's take a look at the overall sculpt. So first what I'll do is just kind of turn the thing around and give you a view of it. You can see that it is Batman perched upon a Japanese themed building here. Extremely well done from top to bottom, and we'll go through the details. I just thought I'd kind of turn this around for you and give you a look at the whole thing. I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but very subtly in the stone background or the stone component of this building, there's a really nice piece of Japanese architecture subtly put into the bat symbol, and just a real nice touch. Something that the sculptor doesn't need to do because you'll never see it as this thing is backed up against a wall or a shelf or what have you. But wow, does it make a great touch and just gives you that attention to detail. So let's talk about the design overall. So we'll start with the head sculpt. As you can see, this is one of the mass portraits. This is the portrait that basically puts something in between Batman and the samurai, the full samurai character. The quality of the helmet, one of the things, or the cowl I should say, sorry, the cowl. One of the things that's noticeable right off the bat to me about this statue is the matte finish of the paint. Right, so you don't have this strange kind of half glossy, half matte that you see with a lot of statues. This one is very evenly kind of almost a satin finish and really gives it a realistic texture and a realistic quality to the way that it looks. And as we move down the statue, the other thing that you'll notice is the detail of the armor. So one of the things that I really like about this is, and I wasn't sure about this when I first looked into the samurai line, is whether or not, is this kind of a traditional samurai, putting Batman into a different time period. One of the things I wasn't really interested in, and again, this is before I took a closer look, was kind of anything steampunk. Although I appreciate steampunk, it wasn't what I was looking for in a statue. What this does is it kind of takes a traditional Japanese style approach, samurai style approach, and kind of morphs it in with a very almost futuristic approach. So if you look through and at the armor very detailed way, and I'll show you this in some pictures and video here that I'll put up now, is you see these crazy details. There's no paint overspray or overpaint or any kind of loose margins on the paint. The colors are absolutely awesome. You have these subtle differences in the grays and the silvers and the blacks, and as you move down his body from the cowl all the way through the chest plate area and so forth, the way that they've plugged in these straps and everything is done to look extremely, extremely realistic. The other piece that's really important to me about Batman, and one of the things that I like, one of my other favorite statues is the Prime One Arkham Knight statue, and the battle damage version. And one of the things I love about that statue is how kind of realistic the body proportions are. And I know some people might argue that the head on the figure might be a tad small, and that could be just stylistically from the game. But that aside, for my Batman money, it's an extremely realistic representation of the character and what I would expect Batman to be in the real world. So this represents that, and his body proportions represent that. He's not overly jacked. He's not, roided up or anything like that. This looks like a really fit, muscular guy in a Batman suit that could exist in reality. So that I absolutely love about it. The armor is extended into his gauntlets and the way that those are presented, into his gloves. His utility belt looks, again, also very realistic. Looks like these compartments open up somehow to unleash some kind of weapon or tool. But again, very realistic and a really cool approach. And as we scan down the statue to his legs and to his knees, I mean, again, the attention to detail and the thoughtfulness of the design is part of this piece that I really, really appreciate. As you look to his knees, not only does it look as though he has protective plating around his knees, but it almost looks like they remind me of the athletic devices that football players might wear to support their knees. And this has that. And again, it just gives that touch of realism. That combined with the leather undergarment, or the leggings that he's wearing underneath, and the folds in there and the detail. It's just one of these pieces that, wow, you can just kind of look at it, for hours and find a different thing every time you come back to it. So again, really appreciate that. The building that he's standing on, I love the traditional Japanese. One of the aspects of the samurai line that's kind of pulled at me for some time now, and the reason why I kind of always came back to, I said, wow, if I can, if I free up the space and the funds and so forth, I'd really like to take a look at this as my first foray into XM. I really appreciate Batman's ties to Asian culture and where he learned to fight. Right, so Batman, as we know, doesn't have superpowers, right? His superpowers are his bank account. Well, they're that, but they're also his intelligence, they're his agility, his street smarts, and his ability to fight, right? So he is an expert combat aficionado, right? So this guy knows how to fight. Where did he learn that? Well, in the Batman mythos, the part of the mythos that I really appreciate, it stems from that Asian culture. When Bruce Wayne leaves Gotham to go find himself and to understand how it is that he's going to take his place as the protector of Gotham, he finds that in Asian culture, in Asian fighting styles. I love how that's represented in Batman Begins, in the Nolan film, right? When Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne goes off to Asia and ends up, bumping into Ra's al Ghul unknowingly, but where he learns how to develop his fighting style and to learn fighting styles that will give him that edge in Gotham that criminals won't be able to compete with. So those fighting elements, that expertise combined with the tools of his trade, the tools that he can have access to given his wealth, all of that story for me comes to life in this piece and the other samurai pieces. And I look forward to bringing you those reviews down the road. Actually, Batgirl arrives here momentarily. You guys may get a view of the UPS truck. But anyhow, so that's the statue in a whole. What I'd like to do is switch him out now, give you another view of him, and so let me do that now, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, we are back, and I have switched our Samurai Batman over to his most traditional gear, right? So you can see here he's got the traditional Samurai Warrior helmet with the full neck shield and whatnot attached around the bottom and the back. It does have the same finish as the previous helmet that I showed you, the more traditional, somewhat more traditional helmet. You can see his face, the bottom part of his face, through the face shield that's in the front. Again, an extremely cool look. Absolutely love it. The other piece that I swapped out are the shoulder pads. So he comes with these rather large shoulder armor elements that protect actually his shoulder and the whole top half of his arm. Really cool, give him that kind of bulky samurai warrior look. And then also swapped out the other arm, took the Gatling bat gun off, and he comes with the second traditional sword to have down by his side. So those pieces swap out and give him that real traditional look, and he just looks excellent. At this point, before I give you a look at the other two head sculpts, or the other three head sculpts, and we move forward here, one of the other aspects that I forgot to mention in the intro was my experience with opening up this incredible piece. As I said, this is my first XM piece. I know many of you out there have these, but for me it was a new out-of-box experience. Absolutely phenomenal once again. Really reminded me of a giant iPhone box, right? So you get this giant carton. He was all in one box, and it is a completely overlapping top over bottom piece carton, and it opens slowly with a vacuum seal, exactly like an iPhone box. A very high quality, sturdy cardboard with artwork on it. I'll pop up a couple of pictures that I took when I unboxed it here. Enforced corners on the box, metal enforced corners on the box, and just a very heavy design. The box was extremely heavy for the size of this statue, which he's quarter scale, but not, you know, he's not terribly huge. As somebody who's kind of used to opening Prime 1 pieces, this one's not a big one, but nonetheless extremely heavy. He came in a clamshell foam, not clamshell. He came in a double foam, and with straps, the XM straps that I'd heard so much about, rather than all being, you know, taped up with packing tape. It was just a really nice experience opening it up. And the other piece, and I'll also throw some pictures up for you, and I hadn't seen these, at least the reviews that I had watched on the samurai pieces before, I hadn't seen these. You get this folder, and then hopefully you can see that on the camera. You get this folder, it's got a picture of the traditional samurai helmet, and face, almost looks like it's made from cement, like it's a statue in itself. But inside this folder, you get a whole bunch of really cool stuff. And again, I'll post some pictures of this. Comes in this almost like a case file folder, Samurai Batman. And inside, you get a full photo of the statue. You get an introduction to the statue. There's a whole bunch of other cool elements in here. You get the concept of what the statue is from the creators and how they thought about as they designed up the piece. The head sculpt. This is just all about the head sculpt. I mean, that's really cool, right? To get this kind of insight into what ultimately is an investment in your collection. I mean, this piece is well north of about $1,000 right now, and for the most part, I think on the secondary market going north of $2,000. So this is an investment, and having this kind of understanding is awesome. You can see here, this is a detail about the armor, and there's a couple of sheets on that. There's a detail about the breastplate and the weapons and the cape, which I haven't even talked about, right? The cape flow is amazing, and somehow this cape looks like it is fabric of some kind or a faux leather. It's not. This is not a mix. There is zero mixed media on this piece, and yet this cape manages to pull off a look that it looks like a leather cape of some kind. So that's incredible. There's a piece on the base. There's a piece that talks about the different swap outs. There's a piece about the creative producer and the executive producer. It goes on, and you get all of these elements with the statue that just make it so much more of a richer experience. And I've also seen people talk about, as I grab this here, the art print that comes with these pieces. This is an excellent art print. It's on a heavy stock. It's a nice quality, although I have to agree with others on the handful of reviews that I've watched. I don't love the XMDC piece at the bottom. It just kind of ruins the art print. I mean, to cut that off, you're losing a full inch of the print, and just makes for a funny size. So I don't know if that's going to end up getting displayed. It may. I don't know. We'll have to see. But it's a nice ad. I actually appreciated the elements that I just showed you a moment ago more, the background of the statue. So Okay, let's keep the review moving. I will move to swapping out some of the other pieces and be back in a second. Okay, guys, we're back once again, and with a whole nother set of switch outs. And all I can say is, holy cow. This is just incredible. I had no idea this would look this good in person. I'm a big Batman Beyond fan, and this, wow, hits right at the heart of it. This is what is called on this statue Rage Mode, and you get that the red bat emblem on his chest that is reminiscent of Batman Beyond. You get the red accents on the katana in his left hand. You get the red accents, as you can see, in the Batarang in his right hand, and you get the full, you know, kind of the black undermask and red accent on the on his mask, on his cowl. And I mean, this just looks outstanding. And again, like I said, it just gives the statue a whole different feel. Looks absolutely incredible. And wow, again, you will not be disappointed if you get into this piece. That's all I can say. So, so with that, let's move ahead and rather than kind of swap everything out, just to give you a look at what some of the other head sculpts are, the other two head sculpts. You have one that is completely unmasked, and you can see it's a really cool version of Bruce. It's at that age, at least to my eyes, looks to me that age of the Batman that I like the most, and that's probably a Batman that's in his early 30s. So he's got some experience under his belt, and he's out there doing damage, fighting criminals. And I like the way that they did this sculpt. The quality on the face sculpt looks excellent. The detail to the sculpt itself and the bone structure and the way that the portrait is done is excellent. The attention to detail on the paint is excellent. You can see that here that the hair application also great. I mean, there's just not a bad word to say. This thing looks amazing. So that is the unsculpted, or sorry, the uncowled version. So let's take a look now at the last head sculpt. So this is the last head sculpt. This is the most traditional version of the Batman. And again, one of the other really cool aspects of this statue, if you swap out, you include the traditional, or what I'm saying, the traditional armored elements like the shoulder pads here, the shoulder guards on his suit. If you were to swap out the katanas for the traditional katana, or for, it also comes with a number of open and closed, actually comes with one fist and two open hands. So you could set this up if you put the black color accented Batarang in with an open hand. You can make this Batman look very traditional if that's what you're going for. Again, it gives you a lot of display options. I like, again, the way that they did the traditional mask. They did the whited out eyes, which I do like. I think it's an interesting option. I'm actually one of those that likes both versions of Batman's cowl, where you have the whited out eyes, but also those where you can see the iris and the pupils. I like that as well. But this looks really cool. I think given the armor and given the tech in the suit, I think it's kind of cool that he's got the advanced features in his cowl that white out his eyes. So I think that's pretty cool. I like it a lot. Okay, so let's wrap this up. In conclusion, if you can't already tell, I absolutely love the piece. I love the options it gives you. I love the quality of the piece. Top to bottom, I just don't think you can beat it. This has quickly become my favorite Batman in my collection, and that's saying a lot. I am a huge Jim Lee fan. You can see over my right shoulder here, my Batman Hush, also a favorite in my collection. I know we all have that favorite with the new piece that comes in. This is probably no exception to that, but I have to say, I am just, I'm absolutely in love. This is just an awesome piece. Any reservations about it? Probably these days price. So if you weren't fortunate enough or weren't aware to get in on this piece when it was first launched several months back, it's pricey now. As I said, I think if you look in secondary market, this piece is going anywhere from, I think 1,800 is aggressive. Most of the time we're seeing it for in the low twos. I think it's only going to go up. XM is killing it with this line. I have the Batgirl statue, as I mentioned, is coming in today. I have the Deathstroke on order. I'll be POing Harley as soon as she goes up. And the Nightwing piece that they teased this week is off the charts as well. So XM doing a good job of hitting my wallet hard, but I am truly excited about the pieces. I hope you are too. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, please drop a like. I would appreciate it. The Batman Statue Collector channel would appreciate it. And leave some comments. Let me know what your XM statue collection is looking like. Are you collecting the Samurai line? It's a huge commitment, but wow, is it worth it. So thanks again, guys. Really appreciate watching. Really appreciate all of your comments below and the likes and so forth. It's been a real joy doing some of these videos here over the past month or two. I look forward to doing a lot more, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again from Wayne Manor North. Out. One other thing I wanted to drop into this review, guys, that I didn't mention before, I should have mentioned this at the outset of the video, is I was fortunate enough to do business with a company called Spec Fiction Collectibles. I'm sure many of you are aware, but for those of you who aren't, my buddy Todd at Spec Fiction Collectibles did a phenomenal job taking care of me. Was just a pleasure to work with on acquiring this piece. The customer service is bar none. His attention to detail is bar none. Communication is awesome. He gets right back to you. I would highly encourage you to talk to Todd at Spec Fiction Collectibles if you're interested in any of the pieces there. As some of the new pieces come out, I know that as the POs come up and available, I know one of the more recent ones, the Robin piece, there is a link available through Batman Statue Collector in that announcement. So if you're interested in connecting to Spec Fiction Collectibles, a great way to do it is through the Batman Statue Collector channel. That helps support the channel. We appreciate it a great deal. Tell Todd we said hello, and hope you enjoy working with him. Good luck.